What's going on, guys? I'm here today to show you how to break down, in this case, a Glock 21 Gen 4. But the same method is going to work for any Glock, any frame size, any caliber, and a lot of other models like the Smith & Wesson SD, the Taurus G2C. This method, this little trick works for them all. So step one, obviously verify that it is unloaded. That's the same with any gun you're working on. And what you're going to want to do is we're going to be having to grab these little tabs here on both sides. You're going to want to do it to each side. But the first thing that I found always easier is you want to grab it from the back here with the serrations with your dominant hand, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. And when you grab it and squeeze with the corner of your hand right here, it's going to push everything up further. You want to grab right here to push it like that, just so it's out of battery just a little bit. And then you're going to grab your other hand and pull these tabs up. And keep the gun upside down as you do. So you want to hold on to those tabs there, and you let go, still keeping hold of the tabs, then you pull the trigger. And then if you're holding it upside down like I just did, the whole slide assembly will come out. And then you can start cleaning up your frame here. You'll see a lot of carbon built up right in here, or you'll see it on this little plate here. I've recently cleaned mine, so it's not super dirty, but most Glocks have the stainless internals, so you'll be able to see pretty quickly what you need to clean and where you need to clean it. And then we'll set that aside here, and we're going to focus on the slide assembly here. So you're going to want to be able to get into the barrel. You're going to be able to get into, you'll see here, even if you haven't shot it, if you've just had it loaded, you're going to develop brass right here for it rubs against the casings. So you want to take a rag or something, or even like a dude, just your finger, to be able to get a little bit of that off. It doesn't really help a whole lot, but it does make it just look a little bit nicer. And then what we'll do here is, it's very simple to do, and once again, this method works for any Glock and a lot of other brands and models out there. So you're going to grab this and you're going to pinch it just a little bit towards this way, and then you'll feel it click, and then it just comes right off. And then you'll want to clean that up. It'll be pretty carboned up if you haven't cleaned it in a while. You want to get a little bit of oil on that, whether you're using like an aerosol spray or like a viscous dropper, be able to get a little bit on that. And then this here confuses a lot of people. I've seen, my gun guys out there know how easy it is to break down a Glock, but there are a lot of people who this really is difficult for them. You'll pull that up and push it forward, and then you'll pull that up as you pull it back. And then there's your barrel. And then you'll be able to clean off any carbon. You'll be able to go inside the barrel, get you a brush down there, scrape out any carbon that's built up. You'll see a lot on the feed ramp. The feed ramp's where there's going to be a lot of carbon caked on, and then up under here, there's going to be a lot of carbon caked on. Even though I've just cleaned mine, you can see just a little bit of gunk on there, which you'll have. And then you put that aside, and then you'll have your slide assembly here. You'll see carbon built up. You'll see it, and you want to make sure you really clean and lube up these rails right in here, because that's what actually slides against the frame of your firearm. So you'll want to clean it up as best as you can. And then you'll look here where the firing pin face is. There's going to be a little bit of brass there. You'll want to get your rag in there and clean it up. Like I said, there's still a little bit of gunk on mine, but it's good enough for who it's for. And then really oil it up. You don't got to go buck wild. Don't got to drench it in oil, but throwing a little bit on there is good for everybody. And you'll get a lot of carbon built up here. And for the people who don't know, I'm hoping and assuming there's a lot of people who are new to firearms here. The carbon I'm talking about is the caked up, burnt up gunpowder after you shoot a firearm. It gets everywhere. It gets all in the slide assembly. It's in the barrel, the springs, the frame. If you shoot for a while without cleaning it, you're going to have it. What you don't want to do is have tons of it, stay caked up, keep it in your gun. You want to clean every so often. You don't have to be super anal about it and clean, you'll hear a lot of guys about they clean every time they shoot, which, depending on the firearm, you don't really have to. It's a good idea, it doesn't hurt anything, obviously, but most guns can handle going a little bit without cleaning, but you don't want to get too crazy with it. But A lot of times they even make these special little picks. They're plastic picks. You don't want to use metal because you can scratch up your finish. But you can use like a piece of plastic or even a toothpick or something, and really get in the hard to reach crevices. If there's any caked up carbon or built up this or that stuck inside the slide or the frame or whatever, to clean it up. Throw a little bit of oil on that, and then you'll obviously want to clean your outside. You'll get fingerprints, as you can see, and you'll get, spots and whatnot. You'll see things like on mine, you'll see a lot of holster wear here where it comes in and out of a holster a lot, which that's really non-issue. That's just cosmetic stuff. That doesn't really affect anything. It just makes it look not super great, which I'll get more into that later, refinishing and painting even and doing all kinds of things you can do. But once you've cleaned, once you've picked it out, once you've oiled it up, we're going to do the same process we just did, but backwards. So we're going to start with the barrel, and you'll go in at an angle, and you'll push it in to where it comes out the other side a little bit, drop it in, and you'll hear it drop down and click right into there. And then we'll take this one, bigger side first towards this part, goes right in there into this little part, and then you push that in right there. So it'll sit like that. And you want to make sure that it's pretty centered. You want to make sure that it's right there. And that sits right in there. Like I said, you want to make sure that's nice and centered in there. Otherwise, you'll have problems when you go to put it back on your receiver. So once you've got it this way, you've got a little oil where you want it, you've got it cleaned up and all that, then you can take your frame here, which is what this is called. Now, if you look, there are two small tabs here, and there's an indentation right here and right here on the other side of your slide assembly. So that'll line up with those little tabs. So then you'll just line it up like that, and it just slides right back on. Don't be afraid to be a little forceful with it all the way, and pull it back, and you can push that up to lock your slide in place. This shouldn't be hanging out really far. This will have a little bit of play to it, don't worry about that. And then you want to look to make sure everything's all good, everything's all clean, you've got oil where you need it and want it, and then you just drop your slide, and you're ready to rock and roll. That's it. Then you can load it up and carry it. What I'll usually do, I'll take a little rag and wipe off my oily ass fingerprints, or whatever's gotten on the gun during cleaning. That carbon can get kind of everywhere, so sometimes you'll have a little smudge where you've accidentally moved somewhere. So just give it a little wipe down, and then that's really about it. And like I said, that's for any Glock of any size and caliber. The Taurus G2C, the Smith & Wesson SD9VE. There's hundreds of different models and brands that use the same takedown method as Glock. It's pretty simple. And if these are hard to reach for you, if, they're really, oiled up or slick, or for whatever reason you just can't get a good bite on these, they do make oversized ones that are easier to grab onto, which we'll get more into that later, of replacing that part to make it a little easier for you to be able to break down and clean your weapon. But yeah, that's really about it. It's pretty simple and straightforward. And then, of course, like I said, you can replace parts to make it easier. So you can replace your slide stop to make it easier to use that. Certain aftermarket parts, like certain triggers and spring assemblies, can make it a little more difficult, but we'll get more on that later. But anyways, appreciate it. Thank you. Be sure to leave a like.